Okay, I think we are ready then to move on to the concluding remarks. And first of all, I would like to invite here on the stage Ms. Juliette Biao, Director of the UN Forum on Forest Secretariat. Please.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, for inviting me. Distinguished delegates, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the close of this global summit on advancing sustainable forest-based bioeconomy approaches, I would like to warmly thank the Republic of Austria through the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry, Climate and Environmental Protection, Regions and Water Management for its outstanding hospitality and leadership for convening us here in Vienna. I also commend and thank the co-conveners, Australia, Finland, Japan, Turkey, IUFRO, and FAO for guiding this process with clarity and purpose and for ensuring that our discussions are directly linked to the intergovernmental forest agenda. Of course, it doesn't hurt also to blow our trumpet as UNFF Secretariat, given the excellent moderation work that Hussein did throughout our discussion. I'm proud, really, Hussein, for the hard work. My appreciation also goes to all participants in person and online for the enthusiasm and excellent participation in this summit. The summit has been a great success in many aspects, including in advancing a better understanding of different requirements and aspects of sustainable forest-based bioeconomy approaches, the related gaps, challenges, opportunities, and priority areas for action. The current excitement and enthusiasm to enhance the contribution of forests to the creation of nature-friendly economies has provided a great opportunity to further discuss and define technical, policy, and institutional requirements for development of such nature-friendly economies. Similarly, the current situation also calls for extra attention regarding the next step in transformations towards sustainable bioeconomy. This is specifically a daunting task, as the international community is now at a critical juncture and is facing major ecological, economic, social, and geopolitical challenges. Climate change, biodiversity loss, deforestation, desertification, forest fires, and extreme weather conditions are on the rise. The conflicts continue, and sparks of new conflicts may be imminent. Inequality and poverty are widespread, putting more pressure on governments to respond to the vital needs of their people. These pressing challenges have forced countries to take intensive resource efficiency measures, relocate their resources, and reevaluate their priorities. Sustainable forest-based bioeconomy has the potential to enhance resource efficiency and contribute to ensure food and energy security, and income generation, among others. But given the current challenges that all countries are facing, if we don't plan for transformation of current economic system into sustainable, fair, and inclusive, and equitable nature-friendly economies, we will face major difficulties. This summit has been a great, however, this is just the first step. The next step is to elevate the topic and outcome of this summit at the next session of the UN Forum on Forests in May. Distinguished delegates, as we close this country-led initiative, let us leave Vienna with three commitments. To keep to keep forests at the center of sustainable development and climate action. Second, to advance a forest-based bioeconomy that is genuinely sustainable, economically viable, socially just, and ecologically sound. Third, to strengthen cooperation across countries, sectors, and generations to turn our recommendation in real change on the ground. On behalf of the organizers and co-conveners, I thank you again for your engagement and leadership. I wish you safe travels, continued collaboration, and I look forward to seeing the Vienna outcomes contribute meaningfully to the work of the UNFF and to stronger forest action worldwide. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Then next I have the pleasure to invite here Mr. Zahedi Kaveh. He's the Assistant Director General, Director Office of Climate Change, Biodiversity and Environment of the FAO.
Thank you so much. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, it really is an honor to offer just a few closing reflections as we conclude this global summit on advancing sustainable forest bioeconomy approaches. Of course, allow me first to begin by expressing FAO's sincere appreciation to Austria for its leadership and hospitality as chair here in Vienna, to South Africa for its strong engagement as co-chair. We also thank all the co-conveners, the organizers, the partners, and commend all of you participants for the very constructive, forward-looking spirit that has guided the conversation here. Over the past few days, this summit has reaffirmed what we feel is a powerful truth, that forests are not only critical ecosystems to be protected, they are engines of sustainable development. They underpin climate action, the conservation and sustainable use of biodiversity, food and nutrition security, resilient livelihoods, and the transformation of our material and energy systems. And I think this is the essence that has been captured in the Vienna call for action, for a sustainable forest-based bioeconomy, which we fully support, as my colleague, the Assistant Director General, Jimin Wu, the head of the Forestry Division, mentioned earlier. This summit, of course, builds on the entire COLI initiative through 6 global webinars in 2025, more than 2,500 participants from governments, private sector, civil society, research institutions, indigenous peoples and local communities, all shared experiences on policy coherence, on finance, on value chains, forest products beyond wood, innovative wood-based construction, and international cooperation. Their insights have directly informed our deliberations here in Vienna. I think taken together, the webinars and the conversation here send the clear message that sustainable forest-based bioeconomy approaches are central to address climate change, biodiversity loss and pollution, while contributing to food security, rural development, and a just transition to low-carbon economies. At the same time, we heard clearly that realizing this potential requires tackling several gaps that still persist. Let me briefly highlight 4 areas where a strong convergence of views seems to have emerged and where FAO will continue to support all of you and our members. The first is policy coherence and effective governance. Many countries are integrating forest-based bioeconomy statements into climate, agriculture, industrial and rural development frameworks, but there is clearly more work ahead. Second, investment and finance. Across regions, there is a significant forest finance gap, especially for restoration, local processing, and community-led and small and medium-sized enterprises. Public finance remains essential, but clearly it's not sufficient on its own, and finding ways to bring in blended finance and tap into innovative finance will be a key to scaling up. Third, innovation and resilient value chains. Demand for wood, fiber, engineered wood products, bio-based materials, and non-wood forest products is growing. This creates major opportunities, but also risks of unsustainable pressure on forests. This is a challenge that we must overcome together. Fourth, inclusion and international cooperation. Forest products beyond wood, foods, medicines, fibers, and ecosystem services are essential to agri-food systems and to livelihood, especially for indigenous peoples and local communities, women, youth, and smallholders. The inclusivity must go beyond this room and this process. FAO members, through the Committee on Forestry and Agriculture, COFO, as well as the Council and the Conference, have reiterated the importance of bioeconomy for sustainable food and agriculture. In response, bioeconomy for sustainable food and agriculture is now firmly embedded in FAO's strategic framework 2022 to 31 as a program priority area and further strengthened in the medium-term plan. So this is squarely within what we as FAO are tasked by our members to deliver. Concretely, we are working with our members in 4 interconnected ways. First, strengthening the knowledge base, including through the dashboard on bioeconomy strategies. Secondly, building capacity through technical assistance, learning programs, and peer-to-peer exchange. Thirdly, supporting the design and implementation of bioeconomy strategies and the integration of forest-based bioeconomy approaches into wider climate, biodiversity, and agri-food policies and plans. And finally, convening dialogues and partnerships, including laying the groundwork at the request of FAO members, including at the last COFO, for establishing a bioeconomy for sustainable transformation partnership, or the BEST partnership, as a global multi-stakeholder platform for cooperation on bioeconomy for sustainable food and agriculture, and one of the engines, I hope, that will bring into implementation the guidance and the outcomes of this meeting as well. Insights from this summit and from the webinar series of COLI will feed directly into FAO's support to members and its reporting to governing bodies. They're going to inform the forthcoming discussions in FAO's technical committees, contribute to processes such as the UNFF in 2026, and help build synergies with emerging efforts such as the COP30 Bioeconomy Challenge. As we look ahead, the task before us is clear. The transition towards a sustainable forest-based bioeconomy is not only possible, it's already underway. But what matters now is our ability to sustain this momentum, to scale it up, to strengthen cooperation across sectors and borders, and translate global aspirations and commitments into tangible results in forests and in communities. And of course, we at FAO stand ready to contribute and continue working with all of you, governments, international organizations, indigenous peoples and local communities, research institutions, civil society, and the private sector, all of whom are critical to advance sustainable forest-based bioeconomy approaches as part of FAO's effort to help countries achieve the transformation towards sustainable, resilient, and inclusive agri-food systems. So once again, on behalf of FAO, thank you for your engagement, thank you for your dedication, and thank you for the trust you place in FAO as your partner in this important endeavor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Then next we will hear from Mr. Michael Losh from the DG Agriculture of the European Commission.
Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, also from the side of the European Commission and in particular DG Agriculture and Food, I would like to congratulate Austria and the co-conveners of this conference, of this country-led initiative, for achieving so much convergence on the issues of promoting forest-based bioeconomy over the last 2 days. From the European Union and the European Commission, Mrs. Roswell was here at the introductory statements. DG Environment and and Mrs. Roswell, Commissioner Roswell, was in the lead of drawing up a new EU bioeconomy strategy end of last year, which is currently discussed. It was discussed under the Danish EU presidency, and it's now discussed, and it is in the council formations, there are council conclusions currently drawn up in Europe, which seem to converge very much. And I'm happy to see that also on this large international scale, we see so much convergence, which means that there are reasonable proposals in the idea of promoting the bioeconomy. From the EU side, it was really, and we are grateful from the agricultural side, from Commissioner Hansen, that Commissioner Roswell was so cooperative and made a process which was inclusive throughout the different Commission services and throughout the different commissioners, and in particular between agriculture and environment. And it was the strategy, the new EU bioeconomy strategy, was really also in this context of the new Commission of creating an enabling framework, of supporting, of finding strategic ways of win-win situations, and not merely creating new criteria, new regulations, or new targets. I think this was very successful. And we were moving the bioeconomy from a research-based or theoretical concept now really to a strategic agenda for investment and for deployment. And every region in the world has to find its own strategic priorities in the context of the bioeconomy. But from the EU side, I will not reiterate everything what Mrs. Roswell said at the beginning, but I think it was so important to find here a strategic focus, which is very much on moving away from the idea that, well, everything is bioeconomy, agriculture, food, everything is bioeconomy, energy, bioenergy is maybe the most important was. No, we focused really on new lead markets, on lead technologies in the areas of materials and of substituting fossil feedstock with bio-based materials. In markets like construction, packaging, bioplastics, with biorefineries, with fermentation, with biogenic carbon capture utilization technologies. I think this was one of the key new proposals of the EU bioeconomy strategy, and I see that a lot has been taken up in this conference, and in particular was for me the highlights in the construction sector and in using, of course, forest-based materials. For me, highlights were the EUFRO President Daniela Kleinschmidt's remarks and presentation on Monday, she drew the attention to the construction sector, which is using 34% of the global energy, according to EUFRO data and UN data, which is responsible for nearly 40% of global CO2. And we saw yesterday an impressive video promoting principles for constructing, for substituting concrete and CO2-intensive construction with wood and biogenic products, and what can be gained from that. That was really an impressive thing. And I would also, as a second highlight, also remind what Professor Schellenhuber of IASA presented. And he drew the attention to the necessity, if we have this big strategic agenda of substituting so many materials, fossil materials or fossil gases producing production methods with bioeconomy, that we need to ensure a sustainable supply of that biomass, and in particular of the forestry biomass. And Professor Schellenhuber reiterated the need to have additional 500 billion trees, which could absorb 25% of the atmospheric carbon. So a decisive element of working towards carbon neutrality. And what is also important, that this new sustainable supply of wood is not a problem, it is a challenge, of course, but it's also an opportunity. It's an opportunity with this idea, for example, of the 500 billion trees, to enter into new areas of afforestation on abandoned land. And there is a lot. Professor Schellenhuber was mentioning 1 billion hectares of degraded land. So there's a lot of possibilities, and this shows also it moves a bit the focus. Providing forestry biomass is a chance also for the economy of investing into degraded areas to produce planted forests, maybe then regenerating forests, but forests which can be used for harvesting wood to provide these products for the bioeconomy. I think this is, for me, one of the key messages, that sustainable supply is a chance, is an economic chance for investing here into forestry worldwide, where it fits, of course, again. And this chance is also, they were mentioning, it shifts maybe away a bit from the purely protecting thought of it is absolutely important to protect the tropical rainforests, but it also shifts to the possibility in the more arid areas to fight against desertification with new forest plantations. So also the EU strategy has an important fourth pillar, which is the reaching out pillar, to working together on the international level, to working with FAO, with UN, with G20 in the various forums to create this convergence of view, because the bioeconomy and the substitution of fossil materials is a worldwide endeavor, and for that we have to work together. And I once again congratulate you here in Austria, and in particular Georg Rappold. I think he's the mastermind of convening, and it was a lot of stress for you. So thank you very much for achieving this important milestone in the success of the forest-based bioeconomy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Then we move on to the two last concluding remarks. And first, I have the great pleasure to invite our co-chair, Ms. Pumetsa Nodada, Deputy Director General, Forestry Management, Department of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment of the Republic of South Africa.
Distinguished delegates, participants, ladies and gentlemen, and I also want to greet the Minister in absentia and thanking his ministry for hosting us and the hospitality that has been extended to us as participants, and obviously to us as well as the co-chair of this summit. As we conclude this global summit, allow me to express our heartfelt appreciation to all the participants for your valuable contributions, insights, and commitments. Over the past 2 days, we have demonstrated the power of genuine multilateralism, one rooted not only in discussion, but in practical collaboration and shared responsibility. This summit has reaffirmed a simple but profound truth that the world has the tools, evidence, technologies, and the pilot initiatives necessary to transform the forest-based bioeconomy. What we need now is scale, ambition, and collective resolve. Your engagements have shown that this resolve exists. Our central achievement has been the launch and endorsement of the Vienna Call for Action, a landmark contribution to global forest and bioeconomic policy. The call embodies our shared determination and ensures that by 2030, the forest-based bioeconomy becomes a mainstream driver of climate neutrality, nature-positive development, and inclusive prosperity. It places solidarity at the heart of global action and calls for measurable, people-centered impacts. Across our discussions, the 5 recurring themes have emerged clearly, which I think all of us are now aware of. First, the need to scale with urgency, confirming that the need for systematic transformation is now. Second, the imperative of social justice and inclusion, ensuring that indigenous peoples, local communities, smallholders, women and youth are not just beneficiaries, but leaders in the bioeconomy. Third, the mobilization and unprecedented levels of investment, shifting financing from project-based interventions towards transformative sector-wide investment portfolios. Fourth, the creation of enabling conditions for supply chain resilience and innovation, where we have noted that without supportive regulatory frameworks and clear market signals, progress will remain limited. And lastly, the embedding of forest-based bioeconomy approaches into global multilateral processes, ensuring coherence and synergy across and post-2030 development agenda. Throughout this summit, one message has stood out. No single country can tackle the climate crisis or achieve sustainable development alone. Our strength lies in partnerships, collaboration, effective communication that will lead to sharing solutions, aligning ambitions, and building collective capacity. As we look ahead, the outcomes of this summit and the Vienna Call for Action will feed directly into UNEP 21 and Call for 28, ensuring that our work here influences global forest policy for years to come. South Africa remains committed to advancing this agenda, particularly in support of countries of the Global South. Let us leave Vienna with renewed purpose and determination. Let us ensure that the discussions and commitments made here translate into measurable change for our people, for our economies, and for the planet that we share. Thank you very much for your engagement, for your leadership, and your collaboration. I wish you all safe travels and continued success. And lastly, we want to appreciate the government of Austria for hosting all of us and the hospitality they've extended to the participants, the seamless organization by the COLI Secretariat, and the support and the diligence of the steering committee, who have provided guidance over this process. And we want to also thank all the funding organizations that have made this summit a success. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Then the final remarks will be from our hosts. Please welcome Ms. Elfriede Moser, the Director General for Forestry and Regions of the Federal Austrian Ministry.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, let me close by thanking you on behalf of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Environment of the Republic of Austria for this great Congress here in Vienna. First of all, I kindly thank all speakers, organizers and participants for making this summit such an impactful and inspiring event. Vienna is a very good place for this COLI conference because the city of Vienna is surrounded by forests. When you look outside, you see the Vienna wood, a huge area, about 100,000 hectares. As our Minister Norbert Tocznik has highlighted in his opening speech, wood is not only a renewable resource, but a key instrument for climate change mitigation. Our collective efforts to promote the forest-based bioeconomy send a powerful signal for a transformation across the globe. This initiative has been a common journey over almost 2 years. Growing the solution is a slogan we can turn into action. The reality is the rising demand of biomass across sectors highlights the need for a strong, sustainable bioeconomy with local, regional, and global solutions. We link national action with international frameworks, and we can create synergies across policy areas. The COLI process has produced a lot of background documents over time, and finally, the 2 outcome papers of the country-led initiative, the co-chair summary and the Vienna call for action. I'm really very grateful that all of you have actively engaged in the discussions. The papers with clear messages stress and give weight to the need to take leadership to ensure an inclusive bioeconomy, to mobilize financial resources, to create useful conditions for forest-based value chains and for innovation, and to build partnership at all levels. Now the discussions will move to the political level. Please distribute the Vienna call for action to help grow support. The results of the summit will be presented at the next session of UNNF in New York and at COFO in Rome this year. Finally, I would like to thank all of you again for your dedication, which has made this conference a great success. A special thank you to our co-chairs, Mrs. Bumeza Novada. From South Africa for your exceptional leadership during the summit. And last but not least, I appreciate the hard work of the organizing team as well as the Friends of COLI and the steering committee. Thank you, Georg Rappold and your team. I believe that the spirit of collaboration is one of our greatest assets. Take the spirit of Vienna with you. For those of you who join one of the excellent excursions, I wish you a very interesting practical insights in the Austrian forest-based bioeconomy. I also hope you find a little bit time to see the beautiful Vienna. And maybe you come back again on holiday in the future. It was really a great honor for Austria that so many participants from all parts of the world came to our country. Thank you so very much. I wish you a safe trip home.
Thank you very much, Forest Director General. So we have reached the official close of the Global Summit. Now we can start to celebrate. But before that, there is still one more important thing to do. The success of this summit is the result of the dedication and collaboration of many committed people. There are colleagues working tireless behind the scenes, many of whom you might never have noticed. Our colleagues from the event management team, the technical team, the venue team, the catering and service staff. So on behalf of all of them, I really would like to thank Petra and Hanna for supporting us in this tremendous work behind the scenes. So thank you very much. And there are also those who have worked very closely with all of you, with all of us, throughout this journey. So allow me to bring some of them into the spotlight. I would like to begin with a big thank you to my dear co-chair, Bumesa, and our wonderful moderator, Tina. So thank you very much. Furthermore, a great thank you also to our valuable co-convener countries, to our partners from the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, from the United Nations Forum on Forest Secretariat, and International Union of Forest Research Organization. Thank you very much. As well, I would like to thank all the members of the drafting committee, our session moderators, session leads, facilitators, and supporters, both online and on site. But last, but not least, a big thank you to my own team for their extraordinary dedication under the project leadership of Rafaela. Thank you, Rafaela. And I will call all of you now on the stage for a family picture. So I will start with Rafaela, please stand up. Lisa, Valerie, Sophia, Lena, Marianne, Barbara, and Benjamin, please come to the stage. So these are my team, and my team made it possible that you are here. So thank you very much. But then also, please join us, Jimin, Juliette, Hossein, Ismail, Ewald, Nelson, Janice, Akiko, Joseph, Ümit, Erno, Eliška, Greg, Madame Komba, please come and join us at the stage. Sven, Damiano, Thais, Vishna, Peter, Francesca, Carla, Diego, Jokas, please come as far as you're here. Irena, if you're here as well, please come to the stage. Please, all of you, come to the stage for a family picture. Thank you very much. And if I have left somebody out and who is still here of these committees I mentioned before, please also come to the stage. Thank you very much.